Good afternoon. I'd like to call this work session of the Southampton Town Board to order on this third day of January 2019. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Is Tommy John coming? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman Lobstad.
Here.
Councilwoman Scalera.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scivone.
I think Tommy John is on his way over, so we'll just reflect it in the record when he arrives. Okay, so we're going to start today's work session with reviewing the agenda, the draft agenda for the January 8th meeting. That meeting will occur at 1 p.m. here at Town Hall. And we have a number of public hearings, so why don't I start with those. The first public hearing is regarding unsafe and dangerous conditions at the premises located at 411 Elliston Way, Bridgehampton. The second public hearing is on the acquisition of lands of Bel Air Cove Resorts, Inc., amending the Hampton Bays and amending the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management Stewardship Plan to include that property. Sunday, would you amend the record that to reflect that Councilman Scivone is present?
I already did, thank you.
Okay, number 3 is a public hearing on the acquisition of lands of McDonald and Watermill and amends the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include that property. Number 4 is a public hearing on the acquisition of lands of Miller in North Sea, amending the CPF and Management Stewardship Plan to include that property. Excuse me. Public hearing, the 5th is considering deleting Town Code Chapter 27. It's the Department of Business Management, Town Management Services Administrator. 6th public hearing considers amending Town Code Chapter 72. That's the controller section to include additional responsibilities. And number 7 is a public hearing to consider amending Town Code Section 330-202, Article 22, changing the extended amortization date for signs to be in compliance to January 1st, 2021. Anybody have any questions? Okay, so let's go to resolutions. The first one, 1029, authorizes the acquisition of the property located at 20 Shinnecock Road, Hampton Bays, for the purposes of community development.
Resolution 2018-1053, the revision to the rules of operations for the CACs. I'm going to table that again. The town attorney's office is working on revising those rules and regulations, and I will bring them to all of you as soon as they're done with that.
Resolution 202 of 2018, it authorizes the provision for a dedicated water quality improvement project reserve line for East Quad Community Preservation Fund. I'll be making amendments to that on Tuesday.
Okay. 1206, resolution of adoption authorizing an amendment to Town Code 330-11A, accessory apartments, and Town Code Chapter 270, rental properties, to provide for additional affordable housing throughout the town. The secret is not done. I don't know that it will be done by the 8th, so that likely will have to get tabled.
Page 28.
ID 30777, authorization for the supervisor to sign application and contract to accept 2019 Suffolk County Youth Bureau funding for Southampton Town Youth Program.
Page 29.
All right, 30824, there's a bond resolution, $75,000 for improvements to town-owned police headquarters. One is here if anybody has any questions about these.
These are all done pursuant to the capital program we just adopted, correct? Okay, he's nodding yes.
It's, I think it's largely for equipment. All right, the next one, 30827, is a $75,000 bond for improvements to various parks, playgrounds, and recreational facilities. The next one is 30826, a bond resolution, $75,000 for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment for construction and maintenance purposes. You have a question? 30843 is a $100,000 bond for the construction and reconstruction of sidewalks. 30835 is a $150,000 bond for the reconstruction and replacement of existing bulkheads constructed of steel, stone, concrete, and wood. 30828, bond resolution, $200,000 for the improvements, including engineering and planning costs at the Lobster Inn Marina, town-owned facility. 30845 is a bond, $200,000 for the purchase of heavy equipment for waste management. 30832 is a $200,000 bond for the renovation of the Tupper Boathouse. 30839, $250,000 bond for various drainage improvements. 30837 is a $250,000 bond for construction and installation of culverts. 30844 is a $300,000 bond for the acquisition of vegetative waste recycling site. 30829 is $300,000 bond for the reconstruction and replacement of existing bulkheads at various trustee locations. 30825 is a $350,000 bond for the construction of a new heated garage and storage facility for the police department. 30833 is a $750,000 bond for equipment costing $30,000 or more for construction or maintenance purposes. So those are, Ryan, those are individual items of $30,000 or more?
Yeah, they have to be more, that's what, because anything less we use paid for.
Okay. 30842 is a $2,350,000 bond for reconstruction of various town roads, subdivision roads, and bike paths. 30830 is a bond resolution for $3 million for improvements to various town-owned buildings. 30831 is a bond resolution, $5 million for the purchase of the Hampton Bays Community Center building and site located at 25 Ponquag Avenue, Hampton Bays. 30849 is a $75,000 bond for the Hampton Bays Overlay District Comprehensive Plan. And 30854 is a $75,000 bond for a comprehensive plan action item. Give me a second here. Len, do you know specifically what that item is? For the, oh, it's for a comprehensive plan, it's for studies, right? Expenses in connection with the class of objects or purposes, estimated costs of professional planning and studies. All right, 30851 is an $85,000 bond for engineering plans and permits to dredge at various beaches and marinas. 30848 is a $200,000 bond resolution for professional planning and design services for various town-owned facilities, including the Jackson Avenue campus. 30852 is a $340,000 bond for shoreline renourishment within the North Sea Beach Colony Erosion Control District. Resolution 30847 is a bond resolution, $600,000 for various information technology purposes. And I have a note here that in section 3, where it references subdivision 35 of paragraph A of section 11, that should read subdivision 32 rather than 35. So we'll make that change in the final.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? What
Yeah,
page are you on?
the resolution has an error. It references subdivision
What page are
35.
you on?
Under section 3 on page 78,
Okay,
where it says pursuant to subdivision 35 of paragraph A.
mm-hmm,
It should say pursuant to subdivision 32 of paragraph A of section 11.
thank you.
All right, 30644. So before we move on away from bonds, so so normally we don't do bonds so early in the year. So could you explain, we usually do these a little bit later. This is probably an interest rate issue, right? You're trying to go out earlier than usual?
Oh, yeah, yes. Short answer is yes. We normally do them at this time of the year all the time.
The first meeting?
We just don't necessarily schedule, the timing of when we go out to borrowers, once you've got the approval and it's done, there's waiting periods and stuff like that, then we'll time the market as best we can. But that doesn't happen until, there's like 60 days or something like that. Some of these require more time than others. But yeah, we normally do it right in the beginning of the year.
What do I recall, like typically we go to the market like in April?
But that's not the authorization.
The authorizations are now, we time the actual sale some point in the future when we figure out when the best time is. But you're correct in saying that actually it's a good time to go out to the market right now as opposed to like 2 weeks ago. The interest rates have dropped about 0.5% on a lot of the things that we would be borrowing here. So that's a lot of money when you're talking about
Right.
$15 million in borrowing.
And all these bonds were all approved in a capital program.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, so am I up to 30644?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a resolution of adoption deleting Town Code Chapter 27, Department of Business Management, Town Management Services Administrator. 30646 is a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 72, Town Controller to include additional responsibilities, which is the risk management primarily. 30693 is a notice of public hearing on the acquisition of lands of Parviz and Parvane, Kodadanian, LLC, Gahali Kahood, and Kodadanian of North Sea, and amends the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include that property.
30599, amends the Town of Southampton Community Preservation Project Plan and CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include the Bel Air Cove Resorts, Inc. property, Hampton Bays, and authorize acquisition.
30607, authorize acquisition of lands of McDonald Watermill and amends the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include that property. 30604, authorizes acquisition of lands of Miller, North Sea, and amends the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include that property. And are there any other additions? Does anybody have any questions? None? All right, so Sunday, go ahead and, I guess, take it and formalize it as the agenda. Finalize it. Thank you.
I'll formalize it too.
Formalize it, finalize it,
Formally finalized. it.
file it. Put it on the computer.
Get it done.
So, all right, we don't really have much else on the work session agenda, other than if anybody has any updates. I don't really have any updates. The year is just starting. We do have the surveys out in Hampton Bays, asking people to, to fill them out. There's 5 simple questions regarding water, their satisfaction with the water and the service of the Hampton Bays Water District. It's postage paid, so we're asking for those to be returned by January 14th. at least put in the mail by January 14th. And I did mention earlier today that there was a collision of a Long Island Railroad train in the village of Quogue with a commercial truck, a large truck. Nobody was injured. So there's lots of work crews and heavy equipment out there. I've offered to, the town's assistance if they need any heavy equipment, to let us know. But we do have personnel out there. The hazmat team was dispatched earlier, so just be aware of that. Anybody else have any other information to share? Sorry, Julie?
For our Flanders Farm Fresh Food Market, we have an update for the 2018 season. We employed 5 local youth. We had 4 participating farms: Schmidt Farms, Island End Farms, Natural Earth Organic Farm, Pike Farm, and the Milk Pail. Total number of customers was over 980 people. And the thing I think I found most interesting and happy about, the number of Farmers Market Nutrition Program vouchers that were used were 2,215, and those are vouchers that are given for WIC and low-income seniors. So this program is doing what it's supposed to, employ local youth and get fresh farm products out to our community. So I want to thank the Youth Bureau and all the kids that helped. So thank you.
That's great. Good work. Anyone else? Christine, you have anything?
Not right now.
John? No. Tommy John? All right, so we do have executive session, acquisitions, and personnel. So I'll make a motion to end our work session and go into executive session on those items.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Sclera. All in favor?
Aye.